Welcome back. You're listening to Chat with Women, and I'm Pam.
And I'm Rochelle.
And you are listening to Chat with Women on AM 880 KIXI. And now I would like to introduce Dan Murphy, who is the Operations Manager, Program Director for KIXI, who is going to take part in our next segment. So welcome, Dan.
Thanks very much, ladies. Well, you know, in the mid-'60s, you couldn't turn on a top 40 radio without hearing the great music of Chad and Jeremy, part of the British Invasion. Since then, their music has been released on countless albums and CDs. They had a great string of hits, 11 U.S. hit singles, 7 classic albums, and they have actually a new album out now. And not only are they great singers and really wonderful guys in the last 15 minutes that we've gotten to know them, but they're also very clever songwriters. And, of course, their music continues to be played across our country and around the world, and even on great stations like KIXI. Guys, it's great to have you in the studio after playing your music for all these years. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So let's...
Hey, chorus.
Is that it?
No more.
And,
Great interview. Love you.
Oh, we had a wonderful time.
drive safely, everybody. Yeah.
These two very
was
strange
nice.
ladies keep calling us the British invasion, which is a little weird, but
Well,
what are you going to
There
do?
were some others, you know.
There were some others.
There were some others, but
Yeah.
there's a cartoon on our website where there's this old codger in a bar sort of putting the moves on a younger female. And he said, perhaps you remember me from the British invasion. And she looks at him and says, which one, 1776 or 1812?
So
Oh, it's great. Go on the website. It's funny.
their website is great. It's got a wonderful bio and a lot of terrific information. It's chadandjeremy.net, and that's chadandjeremy.net, not
Or
Chad
.com.
or .com,
Yeah.
but no ampersand.
Correct.
It's Chad and Jeremy. So let's talk about the British invasion. Now, we made a big deal of it over here on this side of the pond. Oh, the British invasion. What was it over there? Was it just, hey, we're popular in Britain, let's see if we can be popular in the States? Or was it a little more sinister? Was it one of those things of, okay, let's send the Beatles in first, we'll catch them off guard with Chad and Jeremy, and those Yanks will never know what hit them?
That's exactly what happened.
No,
So
we,
How
smart.
clever of you.
we snuck in under the radar. There was no plan, no nothing. We just got scooped up.
Actually, I'll tell you what happened. The Beatles hit America. And then suddenly the rush was on. They were looking for English acts. And we had already had a hit with Yesterday's Gone in England. And we got a call from our publisher who said, hey, guys, you're not going to believe this. You're going up the American charts. What? We didn't even know we'd been released. Turns out the charts we are going up are the country charts. So it could have been different. It could have been Chad and Jeremiah. But then they discovered we were English and we had hair and things like that. And that was the end of that.
But you also had a very, very clean-cut appearance and sound compared to some of the other groups that might have been a little bit rougher around the edges. How did you arrive at the sound, and how'd you get together in the first place?
Accident, dumb luck, or whatever. I don't know. It just happened. We were in the studio with John Barry, and we were drama students, and we sort of swung into Yesterday's Gone with gusto, because you can get away with that in a club, We didn't know
Because
any
we
better.
were working folk gigs
Yeah,
without
right,
mics, you see.
Right. And so anyway, he does take after take, and eventually you can tell he's getting very exasperated. and so in the end, he just pressed the talk button, and he said, it sounds like a locker room full of football players. and then he said, oh, just whisper it. And so that he was trying to dial us back, because it just sounded a bit sort of, the old folky thing, green, green, all that sort of rubbish.
Ooh, a little song.
And we've been whispering ever since. Yeah, basically. There you are.
So
I know it's kind of a you get a bit sick of that.
Rock was
sound.
never softer.
Yeah, no.
Yeah?
what was it like? Can you remember when you first heard your songs played on the radio?
Wonderful. It's a wonderful feeling. It's an extraordinary feeling. And coming over here and so many stations, and coming to America at that time, it was kind of the promised land for us, because, we came from really 50s Britain was pretty depressed still. And it was still after the war, you know what I mean? It was all that going on. And so to come to the land of plenty, and the land where Elvis was, and there were cars with fins, and it was just fantastic.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Americans bailed us out in World War II. Sent a lot of care packages, warm socks, canned ham and you name it. No, it was great. I mean, you guys helped us immensely.
And Britain sent Chad and Jeremy.
Yeah,
Well,
it was a deal.
thank you for that.
Hey, you know.
But no, I mean, I always knew I was going to make it here somehow. I just didn't know how. And so I did.
Was there
With
a
him.
was there a point when you looked at each other one day and said, "We're making it. It's actually happening."
I think that you get scooped up in the madness when you're young and you really don't know what's going on. And that business, this business, it's evolved since that. I mean, now we're sort of doing it on our own, kind of. But in the old days, it's just license to steal. You know, sign here, kid. You know, that stuff.
Steal from you, not you do the stealing.
No, we
Sadly not.
wouldn't. No, absolutely not. But,
No.
I mean, but you're like lambs for the shearing, really.
It's a roller coaster, and you basically, somebody says, and now you're going to be doing this show, and then we're traveling to so and so, and meanwhile you're listening to the radio and listening to yourself, and that is a great thrill. But it also was very tiring, and the sound was the other problem, because you'd go on a stage and there were no stage monitors, so you couldn't really hear what you were doing, and then of course there was the screaming. So it was.
It was lucky the screaming was there because, I mean, if the screaming hadn't been there, it sounded like rubbish. I mean, Lennon said that. Everybody said
Yes,
it.
everyone said.
I mean,
Yeah.
Remember one where there was like one, you know, that classic big Elvis mic, and it was stuck in the
Right.
middle of the stage, and we were looking around for the PA, and there wasn't one, and there was a little speaker in the ceiling.
That's right.
It's stupid.
And you know, one year we were playing, you know, a folk club and shouting, and the next year we were in the Cow Palace, San Francisco,
Yeah.
with
Pretty wild.
20,000 screaming people. It was just extraordinary. It was a learning curve.
Who was the most? I guess I would say the greatest group or the biggest group that you ever had a chance to perform with.
Pregnant Silence.
I remember
don't know
them.
that
They had
group.
a good hit, yeah.
Okay.
No,
Is that
no.
a new group?
No, great musicians.
We performed with an extraordinary range of people, sort of sometimes by accident. What would happen was you'd be on a tour, and then you'd be on, and then the Dick Clark Caravan of Stars you'd all come into another arena, and you'd all meet up for one night, and so we got to work with Chuck Berry,
Yeah.
or the
That was
same
in
bill as
St. Louis.
Chuck Berry. Sorry,
Chuck Berry
Chuck Berry,
and
Roy Orbison.
Stevie Wonder when he
Stevie
was
Wonder,
still little Stevie Wonder.
Stevie Wonder then. And then later, of course, we did a lot of television shows. So we worked with them all. I mean, Danny Kaye. I mean, that kind of level. Another sort of persona, really.
Right, Ray
Andy
Skelton.
Williams, Ray Skelton, Danny Kaye. And then we did all the televisions as well. So Dick Van Dyke Show and Patty Duke Show, somebody mentioned. Batman, 2 episodes.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, once they discovered that we'd been drama students and could string a sentence together coherently, then it was, you know, we were doomed to become TV mop tops.
Now, you've been friends for a lot of years, but your friendship has taken its own separate ways, and sometimes you've taken your own separate ways. What was it that brought you back together to perform again a few years ago?
We were asked by PBS to do a sort of, what was it? What was it called? The Rock Pop Reunion, I think it was. Was it
Yeah.
2003? Is that
I
right?
don't remember
Yes,
when it was.
yes.
Yes.
It was 2003. And so we'd, you know, we talked about it across the Atlantic, so to speak, and seemed like a good idea at the time. So we got together, a bit of rehearsal. We only had to do 20 minutes, Marky. That's slightly different. I mean, you know, in our show that we're going to be, the shows we're going to be doing, we'll do 2 hours, I hope, if they allow us. It's hard to get us off. It's hard
They
to get
last
us
or
off.
you
I
last?
mean, if you last, is that what
No,
you
no,
mean?
no,
Of
no,
course,
no,
we'll
no,
last.
no. It's hard to
No.
get us off. I mean,
Is it?
because we're having too much
Oh,
fun, you
that's
see.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
an evening with, how long is an evening? I don't know.
Well, it
Yeah.
depends on when you start. You know, now we can start at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That could become evening.
No, I don't think that's technically
An afternoon
evening.
with Chad and Jeremy. Well, actually, we are doing one. We're doing one, and that's a day after
We
tomorrow,
have a
whatever it is.
matinee.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was it, and we got together and we did just the two of us. Chad plays keyboard and guitar. I just play guitar. He plays a lot of other things as well, but that was what we did. And the audience went, as we say in England, bonkers. They went mad. They stood and they cheered and they carried on, and we looked at each other and went, oh, we better do some more then. And that's how it is.
Yeah, I mean, it is sort of addictive, but it reminds me of Bob Dylan's quote about. Remember, he had a motorcycle accident and he vanished.
Right.
Because he had to get better.
Yes.
And he wryly remarked when he came back, he said, if you want to get really famous, go missing for a while, which is basically what we did. And no, it was fun though. I mean, they didn't sort of go nuts, but they stood up and cried and all this stuff, you know.
That had to be so empowering. I mean, it's, oh my gosh, they love me, right?
It was a real surprise. I mean, this is Jeremy speaking. I mean, I have another life.
Yes.
I'm an actor and in England and all the rest of it. So, I mean, that's the day job, so to speak. And I'd rather forgotten, to be honest, that we, you know, it's something you did in your youth. It was great fun. Move on. Life's, you know, really, do people still remember? I'm amazed, you know. And to find that they did, yes, it was very empowering and great surprise as far as I'm concerned, because actually Chad and Jeremy didn't have that many hits. In fact, we had only the one in England, you see.
Right.
So
I mean,
that
there was no way in England it wasn't going to happen.
Really?
Yeah,
it's
so
more
I
than-
travelled completely undercover.
See,
I mean, it's another world.
This guy is related to the Duke of Wellington. So
Well,
in
that's-
England, they don't take him seriously as a pop star because rock and roll was widely held to be the province of, you know, working class lads. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got some. There was a lot of press in England, which was, you know, the Duke wore jeans and all this kind of stuff, and it was kind of embarrassing, and I didn't really like it much. So anyway, there you are.
Now, you mentioned that you both do different things. I'd like to touch on that for a second, if we could. Chad, you're an actor. You've been on
No,
stage.
Jeremy.
I'm sorry, Jeremy.
It's okay.
You-
Don't worry
It's
about
okay.
it.
Nobody knows.
You
Yeah.
switched seats. Jeremy, you're an actor. You've
Yeah.
been on stage, movies, TV. Do you have a favorite role, and what should we rent on Netflix so we can see you?
Rent on Netflix so you can see me. That's difficult. I don't know, because the trouble is I don't know what you see over here, you see. There's a lot of things have come on. Is it PBS? Yes,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I suppose so, from the BBC. And again, I don't quite know what you've seen. In the last year, I briefly appeared in The Iron Lady with Meryl Streep, but so briefly they cut out bits. I mean, it's what happens. And I've been doing a play in the West End, so that's kept me over there.
Do you prefer screen work or stage
No,
work?
I prefer stage, really. Yeah. It's more satisfying. You've got control. I mean, nobody cuts out scenes for me on stage for a start.
That's great. Now, the other one, let's see, that would be Chad.
That's Chad.
That's Chad.
Yeah.
Chad, it looks like there came a point when you sort of left the rat race in L.A. and got about as far away from L.A. as you can, which would be Idaho.
Yeah, I didn't pick it. I was doing some scoring work for a Bang Bang Shoot 'em Up cop show in L.A. And the director was David Hemmings. I don't know if anybody remembers David Hemmings. He was famous from. He became a star in Blow Up, Antonioni's Blow Up.
Yeah.
He played Mordred in Camelot and whatever. But he's passed away now, God rest his soul. And but he called me up. He just split from L.A., just moved to Sun Valley, Idaho. And he called me up one day and said, well, I'm tempted to impersonate him because he's such a character.
Go ahead.
Come
go
on
ahead.
up to Sun
You're-
Valley, old boy. No, he's one of those old boy, big drinkers,
Oh,
And he just said, trust me on this one, old boy. We're going to write a musical. So I said, sure, anything to get out of L.A. I mean, honestly. I mean, have you ever tried it? It's not much
I
fun.
got out of L.A.
Oh, you got, congratulations.
Thank you.
Escaped
Thank
from
you.
L.A.
I did.
So I ended up there, and we started to write this musical, and then he just, he got divorced and ran away and left me holding
With the
bag.
musical? He ran away with the musical? Or did he
No,
leave you
no,
with
he
the
just
musical?
left. He just sort of lost interest and left. And then I started, it was like, well, okay, so that isn't going to happen, not right away anyway. So I started teaching, and I've been teaching all sorts of interesting people. I taught Bruce and Demi's kids, all three of them, which is pretty
Taught
do
cool.
you
them how to
teach?
play?
What do you
Yeah,
teach?
guitar and
Oh, I see.
whatever,
Oh,
I
really?
teach piano, guitar, drums, bass, whatever you want to learn. Anything except violin, that's a deadly weapon in my hands.
Okay.
And bagpipes is a bit beyond me.
So, since you're a teacher, you probably have some perspective on today's generation of kids growing up with music and all the technical advances. Some of them are great, some of them are kind of despised, like auto-tune and things like that.
Well, yeah, I think in a way it sort of makes it easier. You can kind of skate. You know, auto-tune is pitiful. I mean, learn to sing in tune.
There was a wonderful moment. There was a wonderful moment. We do some a cappella stuff, which for those of you who don't know, it's unaccompanied singing in the show. And somebody once asked, a young person said, "Are those guys using auto-tune?" No.
It was kind of a compliment.
It was a compliment, yeah,
Big
because couldn't
compliment.
believe
Yeah.
that we could do that, you know.
But I don't really teach anymore. People say, "Well, why don't you?" I say, "I ran out of patience. Just ran out of patience." Especially rich kids, you know, because you go over to their house and I don't know.
Everything.
The rich people like to employ me because it gave them bragging rights, you know.
Oh.
And the kids just, yeah, I didn't practice this week. Well, bully for you.
Well, you both now are back together, so
Right.
this is what you're going to do now.
But it's essentially part-time. I mean, he's an actor, for crying out loud. You know, you
His
never
day
know.
job.
If he gets a great play,
It's a problem.
he's going to have.
It's being
he does the
available.
play.
You know, we try. God knows we try.
Yeah.
But
It's like trying to keep a dog in the yard and he keeps running away.
it's we've managed, actually. We've been doing this sort of almost 10 years. We would work, I mean, come over a couple of times a year. That's it, to work together for, I don't know, 6 weeks, 3 weeks. So, you know, just a bit each year, and amazingly, I have to tell you, we have avoided a car crash until last year, which was when I was in the play in the West End, and I just could not be in two places at once. But it's a difficult one because, you know, I do have another life and another country.
But
too.
do you still have fun? I mean, are you
Oh, we
still
love it.
having fun?
Love it. Love
you
it.
See, that's the key, and I think that's what we want to share with our audience:
Yeah.
is that when they come to see you, the magic continues. It's still alive.
People say about it, they say, it's amazing. You guys are having such fun up there, because we are.
Right.
And also, they say, because it's an evening with kind of thing, they say it's like we're in your living room. I mean, several people have said that literally in the past 3 or 4 days, which is what we have said to each other. This is what we want to achieve. So it's a fantastic thing when somebody comes up to you and says, you know, and they're kind of repeating exactly what you want them to feel. And we're pretty relaxed on stage, relaxed to the point of chaos, actually, some of the time.
Yeah,
That's what makes it fun, though.
Yeah, of
it's
course.
sort of, what is it really? Life imitating art? I don't know. I mean, I've lived in Idaho for 20 years. He's in London. He's a Brit. I'm not. I can talk like one, but that's about as far as it goes.
Well, I have to say, I'm sorry, Dan. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, it sounds like you've got two wonderful shows for us to enjoy, and there's one tomorrow night at 7 p.m. at the Auburn Performing Arts Center, then your matinee show, which is sort of an early evening with Chad and Jeremy, and that's Sunday at 2 p.m. at the Highline Performing Arts Center. Again, tickets available. We've got all the information on our website. You can go to brownpapertickets.com to get tickets. Get them at the door, but definitely get them because these two gentlemen are great musicians, and it sounds like you have an awfully fun show to give us this weekend.
Hope so.
Yeah, hope
Yes.
so.
Come along and find out.
There you go. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for joining us today.